30% close rate. I want to be at 60, but deep down internally, they're like, oh, I don't want to sell anymore. I want to run the business. I want to be the overlord of my business and I want to get it behind, but they don't have the systems and the process or the revenue to justify getting to that stage. So that's why if you're looking, or if you're still booking your own appointments, if you're chasing your own leads, if you're involved in closing every deal, you're not scaling, you're more surviving within your process. And this is why for a lot of people, when we're talking to people now, we want to have those conversations with people because say you're doing 250 grand a year. For the normal average everyday person, you might have a good perspective of that's okay. But 250 grand a year, what are we talking? 20-ish grand a month? If you've got an info space product, it's all right because you've got 70, 80, 85% profit margin. If you're in solar and you've got 30% profit margin, it's not even worth the effort. But to jump from 250 grand a year to 1.5 million a year feels like a lot. And you don't quite have the revenue to get there. So it's a bit chicken and the egg. So if you're at 250 and you're trying to get to £1 million a year, it sounds like a massive jump, but we're talking about 20 grand a month to 100 grand a month. So if I look at Jay, who's got a company called Sheffield Renewables, brilliant guy, really, really good company. But he was doing 30 grand a month. He was doing 15% conversions. That was, I don't know, October. He's done 180 grand last month, 168 the month before. And his clients are absolutely loving what they're doing because he's suddenly become good in the sales process, not in the pushy, be a pain in the ass process, but in the actual having conversations that people enjoy, and it means they want to buy from them. And that's what makes a big difference. If you can get the sales process to be aligned, if you can get it so it works, just so easy when you can get this right. And it actually means you can work less and earn more, or have the process behind it to then scale the business out. And that's actually what a lot of people want to do. So ask yourself that. If you go forward in the next 6 months, if you could get out the sales process, where do you want to? If you watch this, by the way, and this sort of hits and you want to see a bit more, we don't try and book everyone into calls. We've actually put out a 25-minute overview video that breaks all this down. So you can just go to tuster.co.uk, start to stop, and you can just access it. Got the branded water bottle now. So here's a brutal truth. You've got 3 jobs. You might be the business owner, but if you're also appointment setting, but you're also closing, and your split focus you've got actually limits your growth, and they're not all your superpowers. So thirsty today. And this is when you find a real cost in what you're doing, and it ain't good. Because what you end up finding is when you're prospecting and closing, your close rate will suffer and your energy drops because you're knackered. Your confidence ends up dipping, and the revenue overall will end up plateauing because you're trying to cram into each role and just get it done. When actually we don't want to have a just get it done attitude. We want to be at the stage, but all of this stuff actually helps people move forward. By the way, if you're on the back camera, I think you just think it's TikTok. It's really bright. I don't know why. On all the other cameras, it's fine. So ask yourself this. What if you could physically, you as a business owner, stop prospecting yourself in the next 6 weeks and you doubled the capacity to close? What would happen to the business then? It's one of the easiest steps for a lot of business owners to actually take. You've just got to get a couple of things in play to actually mean it. Because imagine if you've got your business out and you're the founder and you're wearing all the hats. It's hard because you're trying to do a little bit of prospecting, a little bit of lead gen, a little bit of closing, plus then fulfillment. And it becomes really hard for people out there because if each one isn't your superpower, which for most it isn't, you end up being, I'll get that done at some point, but it becomes really hard to actually go and get it sorted. Now, the big thing you actually have is sales isn't actually the problem, which is ironic for a guy that talks to people about sales training. Leverage in sales is actually as important as anything else that you've got. So that means you can have more decisions per hour, more closing time, less chasing, more specific things can be getting done within the business. So then you can have someone, imagine you've got this, you've got your appointment setter working 5-6 hours a day. You've got your closer working 5-6 hours a day, and you've got the deliverables. It means like now I don't need to then be on calls. So now I'm doing this. And my day today is spent actually working less because I've got people in the background. And someone's just put there, and you're completely right. It's the opposite of what you started a business for, right? You started a business for more money and more freedom, but you end up being an absolute servant to your business. And you go, okay, let's say you're at 20 grand a month now or 50 grand a month now. Oh, if I was doing 100, it would be easier. But that's the symptom of the problem of not having the right system and the right skills behind all the stuff you've actually got. So this is why it's important. So whether you guys here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, whether you guys are on TikTok, whether you guys are on Instagram, think of it like this now. What is the reason why you are in the sales process? Is it because you're a control freak? Is it because you don't have the revenue to get yourself to? Is it because you don't have the systems in place? Is it because you don't have the lead flow in place? But until all of that is sorted, you're not going to be able to get out a lot of this area. So what you've got to do is start working out the maths behind it. Let's look at it like this. Let's say if you close 5 deals a month, let's say you close 30%. Let's just say that as a rough park figure. Now, if you double the number of calls you can take, revenue increases without having new traffic. But the problem with why most founders are avoiding this is the sales side feels uncomfortable. And for most people, hiring feels risky. Now, the reason it feels underneath the surface that it feels risky is because we don't have, my nose is itching, the systems, the process, the training manuals, the onboarding, and the ability to hire the right person into that role, or we're worried about having a massive wage bill. But actually, if you find the right people for your business, they shouldn't want a fat salary. They should want to have something where they're incentivized to get massive results, to be aligned and partner with the business. And so what you end up with is an awkward situation where the business owner is stuck on this merry-go-round trying to do everything all the time. And you get home at the end of the day and you're like, I'm knackered. And you've got to go again and go again and go again. So you've got to think about now, if you don't have it all aligned and in place, what's got to change for it to happen? Now, here's the real fear. I think for a lot of people, the business owner side, the real fear is more the fact of you're scared if you step back, the revenue's actually going to drop. And also a bit of you inside, you get to stay in a bit of control with where you're at, which actually then keeps you more stuck. And a lot of the clients we work with, it's coaching, property, education, information, solar, heating, plumbing, flooring, recruitment. All of these companies that we work with, if they're a one-man band, there is a degree of control, but we put a mask around what it actually is. So then what we've got to do is almost have an identity shift in what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what we're actually doing. So if you're here, TikTok, Insta, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Oh, the LinkedIn one's not working. Why is that? Right, Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to come back to you in a minute because we've got to reconnect it for